Hey everyone, Adam here, So Wizard Podcast. I have another really cool review for you today. This is one of two videos I'm posting today about Kids in the Hall. That's right, the old school comedy troupe is back. There's a new season of the show, but this particular video is about Kids in the Hall Comedy Punks, a two-part documentary series made by Amazon Studios about the Kids in the Hall. Huge thanks to Amazon for sending this along to us, giving us early access so we could check it out, to let you know if you should be checking it out. Spoilers, you should. And there is another video, as I mentioned, about Kids in the Hall's new season that debuts the same day, May 13th, on Amazon Prime. Also, check our channel for that video or on our website. But this one, Comedy Punks, the documentary, I liked the new season. Probably shouldn't say that, so you have to watch the other video. But I actually liked this more. This had a lot of the comedy in it. There was a lot of footage from their old shows, which is really cool that they were pioneers for a generation in comedy. They were pioneers for Toronto, Canada comedy. They did great things as a group of friends who created something out of nothing, but it wasn't so long ago that those things are lost to time. There's a very clear linear path laid out in the documentary. Not that it was easy, not linear in that way, but from date to date to date, from show to show to show, how one thing led to the next. And it's really cool to watch. There's some cool appearances by, comedy legends like Mike Myers. Can't talk enough about how Kids in the Hall inspired him. It was cool to see that he actually did some improv on stage with them, because he obviously became a legend. And the other big name to note, there was other names in there as well, of course, but the other big name to note was Lorne Michaels, who obviously he's known for SNL, but this guy has produced pretty much every major comedy, it seems, ever that Larry David hasn't done. So the Kids in the Hall Comedy Punks was this awesome thing about how their version of comedy and making improv a thing and just going with it and really just failing for like a year and a half, but having a good time, so keeping it going anyway, was just their drive and determination to will their series and their comedic legends into reality. It was a very cool watch, very inspiring. I always love these kind of behind the scenes looks at things that are just cultural milestones and pop culture mainstays. To see the humble beginnings, to see where it came from, to see that this was not manufactured. This was something done out of love. And I don't think something like this can be manufactured from the start. I think those cheap, flimsy kind of cardboard cutout stances that are trying to replicate things like Kids in the Hall are a flash in the pan. They come up, maybe they get some online success, and they're gone. But things like Kids in the Hall are around and still talked about because of the love these five friends put into it from the start, and that really comes across in this two-part documentary. The fact that it's two parts is excellent because it's just long enough in a chunk that it holds your interest. You never start to wonder what else you have to do with your day, what's for dinner, whatever. You're locked in, then you get a little break, and if you're like me and you're super into this kind of stuff, your break is like go to the bathroom, get a drink, and put on the next part. Why is there even an intermission at all? But just to be able to break it up, I think, is very cool and serves the material well, that it keeps you engaged and you are into it. The fact that all the original members are still around, still interested, still having fun, and still doing comedy is also great timing for this documentary. I think it would have been a lot different if even two of the members were no longer with us or no longer were as sharp as they were, because they're a big part of the documentary, and even the documentary is cut and done with this kind of familiar, fun, light sense of humor. And I was mesmerized and entertained, and as a piece of comedy and a piece of history, I think it's just firing on all cylinders. I don't have a bad thing to say about the documentary. Not that I have much bad to say about the new season either, but watch that video for specifics there. But even if Kids in the Hall wasn't exactly your thing, at some point you found something funny. Somebody had to make that thing funny that you're finding funny. So watching a documentary like this is a look at the process. I mean, there is no one process for comedy, but it's a look at a process and how these people have done it, and they've done it great. So watching greatness form in front of your eyes and making comedy history and pop culture history, I can't say enough great things about it. I hope both parts come out at the same time, which is May 13th, Friday, May 13th. So make sure you check out Kids in the Hall Comedy Punks. I would also advise you to check out the season, if for nothing more than just they did it. After so long, they did it again. I'm going a little off track because there is a whole separate video about that, so check it out. Huge thanks to Amazon Studios for sending me this. This is one of those gifts that I didn't know I wanted, and now that I have it, I just want more. I didn't know Kids in the Hall was coming back. I didn't know they were making a documentary about it. When I watched the first season, I still didn't know what Comedy Punks was. I thought it was an hour stand-up special or an improv on stage special for anything it could have been. I didn't know it was a documentary. If you told me 2 weeks ago even, hey, I'm making a Kids in the Hall documentary, you should check it out, I'd be like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm familiar with Kids in the Hall. I used to watch some of their shows when they were on, I believe it was Comedy Central. Sure, okay, but it kind of would have been almost one ear and out the other. It wasn't something I was, like, hungry for. I wasn't on the internet shouting, why isn't someone making a Kids in the Hall documentary? And now knowing what I do, I should have been that guy on the internet shouting, why isn't someone making a documentary? Because it's fantastic, and it's really cool to see the friendship, the determination, again, making something out of nothing, and just being able to will this amazing thing into the pop culture conversation. Please remember to like and subscribe. We have a lot more interviews, new movie coverage, screener coverage, comic reviews, everything you love coming your way. You're not going to want to miss out. Also, make sure you listen to So Wizard Podcast every single week, wherever you get your podcasts. So Wizard Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows. SoWizardPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, videos, merchandise, and more. We love hearing feedback, so drop us a note in the comments, leave us something on social media. All the accounts can be found after the show and in the show notes. And on a more personal note, a good friend and I have an ongoing comedy comic series. It's called Social Studies. It's kind of a coming-of-age story / slice of life. We write it like a 90s sitcom. We style it after the 90s cartoons that we grew up and inspired us. There's 9 issues available now. 10's coming any day now. You can find them all at socialstudiescomic.com. In some local upstate New York comic book stores we plan on spreading out. And also on Comixology, which is probably the most accessible way, though I would suggest you get them in print because the prints look great. SocialStudiesComic.com, Comixology, Comixology Unlimited. Thanks.